What's going on, my creative collective? Welcome to your August 10th reading. We are going to hop right on in here. So let's do this. Let us check this out, shall we? All right, so we have two already. That will be for later. This one's for now. Okay. So we're starting with You Are Magic. Okay. Dear you, there's only one you, and you have a unique place in the universe. Sometimes situations come up that challenge you to be authentic, and that means you have to be fully yourself and let go of being what you think others may want. Now is not the time to conform to other people's standards or expectations. Be proud of who you are and be courageous. Stand tall in your convictions. Being yourself is a powerful statement and will only lead you to success and ultimately happiness. Don't compare yourself to other people. Want what you have, choose what your heart wants, and know that your purpose is yours alone. No one else can claim your magic nor take it away. When you place authenticity and originality high on your list of priorities and give them a prominent place in your awareness, extraordinary things happen. Your life is a beautiful one. Love you always and forever. Yeah. And then the one that we'll read is You Are Magical. That one we'll read at the end. Yeah, a little bit of mermaid energy. Okay. I feel this weird sensation I'm wanting to hide, and not hide, it's just there's some part, it's like there's some part of my energy right now with this reading that's and not hide as in shrink away, but it's just there's a judgment energy that's weird. It's very weird. I wasn't feeling this before I came into the reading, so Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives? Maybe there's something that there is no judgment necessarily, but I feel like it's a fear of that, perhaps. There's a little fear of that, maybe. I don't know. We're going to dive in and figure out what's going on here. Queen of Wands. What other messages do you have for my daily creatives? Queen of Wands, Seven of Cups, Ace of Swords, Seven of Wands, Queen of Cups, Page of Pentacles. Interesting. Yeah, I feel like there's this page energy where you're offering, you have this thing to offer, but you're and that's it's showing up in the antagonist position. Maybe that's what I'm picking up on, where you're it's not really right? There's this, it's almost like you're meh about whatever this is. It could be someone offering energy. It could be you. We're going to keep going here. It was just such an odd energy. It just felt yeah. And the Hierophant. Wow. And Temperance. Yeah, I'm getting here that there's the call to adventure is seeing things clearly, but there's this Ace of Swords energy of seeing yourself clearly, I think. Because I think this is kind of how you show up. You show up in this Queen of Wands energy, right? Very passionate, very creative, very integrated and connected. But then it's you throw yourself out of, it's throwing yourself out of balance, out of connection somehow, in some way, maybe, because it's looking at all of the things in front of you instead of looking within you. And when you're within you, it's you're super connected, right? You're super connected. I was just having that experience somewhat recently where it's tonight even, it's after doing that Lionsgate activation meditation on Christina Lope's website and just pausing for a minute and letting myself need rest and get rest, right? Because it was yesterday after the meditation and just yesterday in general, it was kind of tiring. So it was needing to sleep and just letting myself rest and just being easy about that instead of being I need to be doing something else. Just breathing into it, right? And letting that unfold and happen. But I'm almost getting that there's like, it could be being honest with yourself about something like that, but there's this sense of peace that's here right now, right? In where I am, and it's, evening, and just like my tummy's full. I made roasted vegetables for dinner with, some balsamic reduction and different spices on them. And it was just so good, like Brussels sprouts and carrots and red onion. It was delicious, right? With some other stuff too, but it's like that feeling of full, and like, bare feet on the floor in the summer, and it's like you can hear the crickets at night, and the sun is slowly creeping down the rooftops around you, and it's just this, it's almost like ambiance, but it reminds me a lot of what it feels like when I go to the cottage or to cottaging. It's like it's that evening feeling where it's just nothing exists but what you're doing, right? And I don't know, it's almost like time is slowing down a little bit while I'm in this reading, which often happens when I channel, but it's somewhat different. Um, so I think that the call to adventure is maybe just staying connected to your truth, staying connected to yourself more than, this is kind of striking me as also outside influences, but not in terms of like giving away power or anything like that. This is really about, it's like seeing yourself really clearly. It's like seeing yourself clearly, because these are all maybe ways that you've seen yourself before. This is a lot of like self-perception, but I'm also getting confidence too, because the Queen of Wands, we have the Nine of Pentacles, right? It's like seeing yourself really clearly. The thing that could become a tower if it goes unchecked is the Seven of Wands. And I think it's because it's this defensive energy. It could almost be like defensiveness, thinking that people, I don't know. I don't know if this is resonating. I'm trying to understand why and where it's resonating in my own energy. I have an idea, but it's like putting that into words, like translating that energy. It's not defensiveness at outside. It's like, it's almost like this wall that's up because you don't want people to see, like you feel maybe like your perception, like this is like who you are, and this is how you feel, right? Like it's like you're in queen energy, you're Queen of Cups, Queen of Wands, Nine of Pentacles, pre-Empress, right? So you're in this energy, and you have this fear of people seeing you as a page maybe, or it's not people seeing you as a page. I don't think it could just be like, maybe that's the season part. There's like a season. There's a shift in seasons right now, and it almost feels like it's the time of year where trees are starting to change color a little bit. You can see it, driving to work and things like that. You can see it on the sides of the road. And it's like, it's just this whisper of September. It's the whisper of September before the full iteration or iteration or iteratives of October and November, where trees lose their leaves, right? It's like this sort of beginning of a season shift. And I think that could have something to do with this, the Lionsgate portal, right? It could be. But there's just this shift, and it's like perception. Like there's a lot to do with your perception and your thoughts of yourself. The challenge that you're overcoming here is this Nine of Pentacles, and I think it's like it's having a little more confidence in yourself. That's the big challenge. The way you're overcoming that, interestingly, is showing up as the Eight of Swords, which to me it strikes me more as the release from this sort of inner prison that you built for yourself, because this shit gets lonely after a while, right? This gets really lonely. It really does. It gets really lonely. So it's like it's almost like this is striking me as more of a Six of Swords, or a Nine of Swords than an Eight of Swords alone, because it's like whatever energy is operating within you, it's like you're able to shift out. You're able to shift out of that kind of bound up energy. And I think that, the lessons that you're integrating and what you're transmuting and taking in on this way back is, the way back. It's almost like a little bit of like, you're still, it's not being, it's like there was a lot that had to be undone, right? The overcoming was how much you needed to undo. And then this Two of Swords is like, the rest of it is finally coming off. Like the rest of the blinders, the blindfold is coming off, and you're able to see, and it's moving you into this really beautiful, this very stable place. Very stable, very connected, loving, tenderness. This is also balance and reciprocity. Like it's a very different energy for you. compared to what this feels like. And honestly, like I've, in different ways, I think we go through all of this in different ways when we're ready to start something new. It's like that beginner, right? We're at the starting line, and there's so much that we're working on and doing. And it's almost like, oh, hi, baby girl, you go ahead. I think it's about understanding your power, but also understanding your depth as well, because there's something about having to go into this depth. Like the Queen of Cups is an energy of emotional depth, and I think it's but there's some way that there was like resistance here. I'm going to clarify this. I feel like there was resistance, but it's almost like confusion, a little bit of confusion maybe. A little bit of confusion. I'm seeing a red balloon. Blech. Not as in like the clown, it, but just like, I don't know where that came from. Two of Swords, the Hanged Man, Nine of Pentacles, Six of Pentacles. I think it's like pulling back. I'm trying to understand the density of this energy here. Because it's like typically there's a specific challenge to overcome. Typically there's specificity, but this is very much like this could be something that touches many aspects of your life. It could be something that touches many parts of your experience. But I think that the call to adventure is seeing beyond what may confuse you about where you are. And it's connecting instead to this passionate, this Queen of Wands, this depth of, passion. Like I'm trying to find different ways to say it, but it really is just that. Could be that meditation might help at this point in time to kind of calm thoughts and just to soothe thoughts, because that's really like we're going to keep thinking regardless. It's really just to soothe thoughts and to help us ease into them, to help us ease into more peace, right? That's really what it is. So the Queen of Wands, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Eight of Swords, it's like moving away from the blocks that you had put up to confidence, right? There's that Rumi quote that like it's, our job is not to like to work towards love or something along those lines. It's to remove all of the obstacles against it, right? So it's really just about releasing and letting go. It's really about releasing and letting go of that. And I think it is a bit about perception, like seeing yourself really clearly. Maybe this is like for the first time or for the first time in a long time. And I think the Nine of Pentacles inflects that with a little bit of, because you're seeing your worth in greater measure, right? You're seeing your worth in greater measure. Knight of Cups, Four of Wands, Four of Cups. I do feel like there are ways that you're able to offer of yourself and to others. The Knight of Cups to me speaks a little bit of the way that your heart kind of, it's the way it's present in and around and among other people, and how there's something about it that unlocks so much more. It unlocks abundance. Like the Nine of Pentacles is an abundant energy. It unlocks so much more for you. The Four of Wands is a stability energy, to me at least. And I think that it's sort of like this, it brings in this, this way you're seeing yourself more clearly is helping to kind of stabilize your energy. I mean, obviously that's what it does, right? Like when I just feel like this is possibly also forgiveness. Maybe you're forgiving yourself or forgiving other people for the ways that things have happened or the ways that things have gone down. That could be the case. I think this is also a lot about self-compassion too. The Four of Cups is like not compassionate energy for yourself. I almost feel like that's like the opposite of empathy and self-compassion when it's directed towards you, right? So it's like it's seeing yourself much more clearly because you're kind of forgiving yourself for what you can't change, right? You're forgiving yourself for what you can't change. You're forgiving yourself for what is right now. And I think you're letting go. Like, I think that it's also an energy of like, if instead of proving yourself, because I feel like this is so interesting how it's coming through. It's like, instead of proving yourself to all of the times where people say or try to put things in your path that say like, prove it to me, prove your worth to me, prove this to me, prove your value. You're saying as well, this, I think together these are showing up as like, and this to me is also a 7-7. So there's like a bigger spiritual picture here. But it's that you're better able to say, you know what, I'm good. I'm good. And not in a way that's defensive. And I feel like that's where it's moving away from the defensiveness, right? Because when you're honest with yourself and where you are, and you work towards a specific end, you're not really going to be for everyone. That's so interesting. But that's where I think your Ace of Swords, your authentic truth comes in. That's where your authentic truth comes in, and you're able to see much more clearly. Ace of Wands, High Priestess. Yeah. And Three of Wands as well. You're able to see with much greater clarity. And I think it's almost like this was the block. Like, I don't know what other people thought mattered. I mean, it does. A lot of people have that as like their thing, right? That's the thing that we try to escape and all of that. But it's almost like it's scrambled your energy and kind of blocked off the flow of opportunities, right? Because if you're in an energy of feeling like you have to prove yourself, well, spirit won't really respond with much more than just a trickle, right? Because it's not being given room to let your wings spread either, right? So we have the Ace of Swords and the Queen of Cups. Spirit, what messages do you have to clarify this? Whoa. We have the Magician. Wow. So I feel like this is like, it's almost like you're activating a superpower. You're activating a superpower. You're activating something. This is definitely an activation. It's like a heart activation. Again, could be to do with Lionsgate, but this strikes me as like an activation energy. It could be an aspect of yourself, your truth. There's something that's like awake. And this Magician energy is telling me that it's not only that, but like it's giving you tools that are immediately accessible to you. Like there's something that's immediately accessible to your energy. So we have the Five of Swords. Yeah, and I feel like it's not like, you don't have to fight for this. Like it's showing up as like, it's not an energy of, like this isn't an energy of like guesswork or, you know what I mean? Like that dance. It just isn't. It's very clear. And guesswork is often, to me, part of conflict. And so the way that it's coming through is like, if you're in competitive environments for long enough, you're going to have to refine your guessing muscles, right? You're going to have to refine your guess muscles. Because your communication muscles won't be of use as much because it's so competitive that communication is just this open, authentic way of showing up. So if you're in that energy for too long, it can kind of close, or like it can atrophy the muscles that you need for your heart to be flowing freely, right? So it's almost like moving away from that indefinitely. But there's this way that the Magician energy is, I think, I don't know. It's like you have more resources available than you might have thought. But I think that you realize that you are a resource for yourself. You are a resource. Something along those lines. You are a resource. Two of Swords. Yeah, I don't think you could really see this. I don't think you could see it so much. I get that it was a little bit blocked in your energy. Like it just wasn't clear. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives to close out this clarification? Page of Pentacles energy. Maybe this is also, the antagonist is like when you felt small. Like maybe there was a way that you felt really small. There's a lot of like, there's been so many synchronicities around Awakening to Spirits readings. Like Cindy's readings have been wild. Just with the resonance, and I'm like, bleh, like it just, some of them have read me to filth. I think it was the Libra one in particular that talked about offerings, and I'm getting this like this offering energy from this, where it's like maybe you felt like you didn't have much to give. Like maybe that's part of it. Like, cause you know, in some readings you hear like, oh, it's just a page. It's just and like, I say that in jest, cause sometimes that energy is very real. Like you deserve more than what you're being offered, but it's almost like a way of seeing yourself, or like that kept you small, or this is like playing small. It doesn't strike me as playing particularly safe, but it's like there's something about this energy that doesn't it's just like it sat in your energy um as a way of seeing yourself, but it's kind of blocked you from seeing yourself really clearly here. Two of Swords, and Two of Swords showed up again. It's like, it's blocked yourself. It's blocked balance. It's blocked like higher spiritual knowledge, commitment with this Hierophant energy. I also see this as balance and stability. I feel like it's blocked real love from finding you. So I'm just getting that there's like a lot here. There's like a lot here in that tiny little page, right? Like it's like if so much can be in that page, what one would deem small, then what is the other side of that in terms of the positive register of the page, right? So the page can be, if the page can bring so many significant energetic connotations with it, then too it must bring some kind of other connotation with it on the other side of that, right? Like what's the silver lining of that? I'm hearing learning about yourself. You could be learning about yourself and what is most important to you, but it doesn't strike me as that much of a beginner. It could be for some. It could very well be for some. So we have the Eight of Cups and the Five of Wands. Yeah, it's like leaving. This is, I think, a sense of leaving behind conflict that kept you in this place. Because I don't think that, like, you're showing up as queen energy here. You're showing up, you're pulling majors on the outcome. So I get the impression that this page energy is not who you are. It's who you thought you were. But you're actually in this really abundant queen energy. You're in this abundant queen energy. But you had to see it. You have to see it. Yeah. And I think about the Eight of Cups as like the sort of walking away from the Five of Wands, right? Where it's like walking away from conflict, walking away from seeing yourself as this fixed point in motion, right? Maybe this is what is, it could just be that there was like an energy that got stuck in your energy. And because that energy was of a page, what it did was it kind of, it made you like it. This is where, trauma can do interesting things to the brain, where it can cause these loops, right? These feedback loops. That's really interesting to me. And then we have, oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Like Owen Wilson, I think his name is, or Luke Wilson, one of those memes. Wow. I don't even know. But I pulled, the reason for my wows was, we have the King of Swords, then we have the Fool. We also have the Tower and the Moon. There's like a new beginning. And it's like, as soon as this hits your consciousness, everything changes. Like, I don't feel like it's an exaggeration to say that. Like, everything changes. And it's like, what you couldn't see was which thing needed to go, which thing needed to happen. And I think that the Tower is sort of representative of the energy of transformation, where you're like, no, I know which one needs to go. And it just does. It just does. It doesn't really, there's no pretense here. It just goes. And then you have this like beautiful new start, very clear. There's no guessing, right? That guessing muscle, you don't need it, because this is just a beautiful, innocent energy to be in, right? It's really lovely. And it's also, I think, a way of offering yourself to the world too, right? Like this Fool energy is so, it's just, I don't want to say innocent because I feel like that's overused, but it's just so pure. Like when you're excited about something, you're just excited. You don't have to worry like, oh, is this thing for me? Or do I have permission to do this? Or can I apply for that? Can I do this? Like, it's just this energy of like, oh my gosh. And you see it and you're so excited. And it's like that innocence of excitement, right? That sweetness of it. And this King of Swords, I think, is a clarity. And it's almost like you forget who you are. Like maybe you've been in a Fool energy so many times that you got stuck in this idea of being a beginner. Maybe there were so many things that were new that you were like, like when am I going to become, this matured energy that I feel inside, outside, right? And then it's like you step into this King of Swords energy because the tower falls. Like there's some kind of shift, and it's quite sudden because the moon is there too, right? Like I don't think that it's kind of unsuspecting, but it's not something that takes down. I think it's like almost cutting off this part of your perception of yourself, and you're just done. And it's like it's over. It's not like let's explore this and make all these different things. No, like it's like that part is done. I put chili powder and a bunch of other things on my vegetables, and my sinuses are very appreciative in their clearing. Oh my goodness. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives, please, for August 10th? August 10th, please. I trust the guidance of the universe. It's tough, though, right? It's tough. Because if you're in this Fool energy for too long, it's like after a while, the leaping, it gets to be like that needs to be cleared too. So trust that everything you need to know is being revealed to you in the perfect space-time sequence. And it's also just about having patience with yourself, for yourself, and for others too, right? Because as much as, think about the last time that you took a huge leap of faith, right? Think about the last time that you did. Now, other people around you do that on a pretty regular basis too. And so maybe they're in that energy, and it's like, it's just having compassion and taking a look at different perspectives and seeing through things other than where it hurts or where you're nervous, right? So, yeah. I live in an abundant universe, and that's kind of the promise, right? Like when you believe that that's the case, compassion is a little bit easier to find. Compassion flows with greater depth, right? So, flows. I didn't even see that. Okay, notice how abundance flows into your life in delightful and surprising ways. Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to read this to close out the reading. So you are magical. You are magical. Dear you are in such good shape right now that we're all doing a happy dance. In this moment, you have the power to make a choice to get with spirit and co-create a miracle. You may wonder where this is all going, but if you want to manifest your desires for the highest good, you need to stay focused on the now. All power is in the present moment. Ask yourself, what are your dominant thoughts now? What beliefs are you motivated by? Do you have clarity right now? How is your conscious contact with the divine? Are you plugged in, or are you trying to do life all by your small self? Get rid of negative energy now. Resentments be gone. Forgiveness and love enter, please. You can do your life beautifully and create your most powerful future right here, right now, in this moment. Aren't you thrilled to know you have such a huge cheering section over here? Love and hugs always. Yeah. So I feel like spirit's on your side, but I do feel like this could also just be the energies kind of flying high right now. Energy's flying high a bit, I think. But there's something here about trusting yourself, and like it's like seeing yourself through the eyes of love, seeing yourself through the eyes of spirit. There's a clarity here that maybe you weren't giving yourself or fully allowing yourself. Maybe this is just healing the way you see yourself too. Interesting. I'm definitely going to look at that later, but this is just a really lovely spread. So yeah. You do have everything you need. In terms of signs, we have pretty much everything here. We have Sagittarius, Taurus, Gemini. We have more Mercury energy in Gemini potentially, but we have Mercury here with the Magician. We've also got we have some Pluto energy, so Scorpio in terms of the tower, so Aries, Mars, and then some Pluto. We have the High Priestess, as well as the Moon. Yeah. Be in your dreaminess. Be in your dreaminess right now is another thing, I think. In your dreaminess about yourself. Maybe you need to see yourself as dreamy in the eyes of another. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you've lost touch with that. I don't know. I had a weird, this is like, for folks who make it all the way to the end of these videos, I had a weird moment where I was like, again, I don't know what I'm not sure what frequency, like the last few have been super intense. So I'm like, whoa, for awakening to spirit. So Cindy's readings, but there was one where she talked about going back to this like innocent place in that Libra reading. And it unlocked this part of me, like it was weird, but I mean, it was good weird. But the book Chasers of the Light by Tyler Knott Gregson, I loved his poetry so much. And I just found myself curled up with it, thinking back to that time and like the back to the time where I would like be the person that would pull up in July with like Christmas music on in the car because it just made me happy. And it was like, it's like thinking back to that time, right? And this wasn't long ago, but it's almost like, it's like the pandemic put this veil over things. It put this veil over, I don't want to say everybody, but it's like this, it's like maybe a part of you went to sleep out of necessity to survive that time. But now it's like you're free. You just have to give yourself the perspective that allows you to realize that freedom, right? So that was my lesson in that anyway. But yeah, so if this resonated, give it a like and subscribe. I'd love to have you on the channel. But I hope you have a great day ahead of you, and that wherever this finds you on the time-space continuum, morning, afternoon, or night, I hope it finds you very well, my darlings. Take care.